Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. And in today's video, basically this is actually my third attempt to making this video, to be honest with you, because I've been struggling to find the right words to put it together. But basically, 1 week ago, well today is 7th of November, up until a week ago we were getting 40p a litre for our milk, which when the cost of producing the milk is around 36 to 38p a litre, this is the English pennies per litre of milk produced from these cows. We were getting 40p, so we were, I'm not going to be, you're not going to make record profits with 2p a litre profit, well between 2 and 4p a litre, but that money then goes into a pot to spend on the rest of the farm, to keeping it maintained, building walls, building sheds, etc. Basically to look after the welfare of our cows. But now, a week later, the milk that we produce is now worth 34p a litre. So we have dropped 6p per litre of milk produced. That's how much we're going to get less. So we're now getting 34 instead of 40, which is a big drop, and it's now we're having to cover the cost of that because we're now producing milk at less than the cost of production. So our cost of production on our farm is roughly about 36 to 38p a litre. You can work it out, it's not rocket science, and we're now getting at least 2 to 4p less than that. So I'm going to call this video, I don't normally do this, I normally work out a title to a video after I've edited it and uploaded it, but with this I'm making it different. I'm actually going to call this video Difficult Times Ahead, because that is what's happening really. That is what we're going to go into winter thinking now, because actually we're farming at a loss. We can't switch the cows off, we can't say, don't produce any milk. But what can we do? At the end of the day, we are at the tail end of the supermarkets. I've actually been in a supermarket not that long ago, and actually the price of milk hasn't dropped in the supermarket. Not since I last not since I last looked at milk, which was probably a few months ago. It's all around the 160 to 170 to 180p for 4 pints. £1. Yeah, £1.60 to £1.80 for 4 pints. So it's not dropped, but us as farmers, it has dropped, because apparently the market isn't there for it. Apparently the market is flooded with milk. Got to ask the question though, with the summer we've had, we've struggled to get grass to grow, cows haven't performed very well, and actually we're now saying that there's overproduction. It doesn't make sense. Now, in the past month or 2 months, I would say grass has had a bit of a flush, shall we say, but not like the flush you get in spring. Nowhere near what to make up for the downfall of grass that we lost during the summer months, during like June, July, August. So you're asking the question, where is all this milk coming from? Is it coming from abroad? Because actually, abroad, supposedly, they've had an extraordinarily good year for producing milk. America for one, Germany has supposedly as well. So you've got to ask yourself the question, are they bringing dairy products in from abroad? And I think the answer is likely yes, they are. And they're most probably getting stamped with a Union Jack logo and a Red Tractor Farm Assurance logo in the process. But that's a subject for another time. But at the same time, why are we suffering? Why are us as British farmers having to pick up the pieces for an overproduction, well, global overproduction of milk, of dairy products, and we're now, we're picking up the pieces because we're now producing milk at less than the cost of the production. At the end of the day, we've got, as a dairy farm, you've got a lot of labour involved and a lot of outgoings. Yes, you're having a milk check every month, but you've got a big electricity bill, because the parlour doesn't run on fresh air. You could put solar panels and do that, all that jazz, but that's an expense and a capital investment on the farm as it is. And yeah, that's another subject, that. But forget about that. Think about, you've got electric bill, you've got water, because dairy cows drink a lot of water. Obviously fodder is in short supply this year, so there's chances are you have to buy some fodder. You've got a lot of corn, because dairy cows need a high protein feed to make them produce high quantities of milk. Well, say high quantities of milk, depends what breed your cow is, but that's a different subject again. But you've then got other expenditure, you've got fertiliser, you've got straw for bedding, sawdust for bedding, lime for bedding, and at the end of the day, like a lot of family farms, have a mortgage to pay as well. That's the only way you can actually survive, is having a mortgage on the place to afford to actually buy a farm. So you've got that, and that's a big expenditure. And to throw it into throw in another spanner into the works as well, you've got that pillock of bloody Rachel Reeves with this inheritance tax malarkey. So they've then got to find another few $100,000 to pay that off when time comes. You just think money comes out of fresh air, but again, different subject. What we're actually talking about is actually the milk price, and actually the difficult times ahead, which they are, because actually they're talking of the milk price dropping even more. I'm fingers crossed they don't do that, because then we're going in a right mess. Not only us, I mean every dairy farmer out there. At the end of the day, we are producing a really nutritional, high-valued product, and they're paying pennies for it. It's not right, and I struggle to find the words sometimes. I've not grown up, spent the last 28 years of my life talking to a camera. I've only started doing YouTube the last 2 years, properly anyway. But I was talking to, our vet actually came scanning the cows a couple of days ago, and she said one dairy farm near us, not that far away, so he's been stung like us, 6p price drop, and his answer is, I'll have to milk more cows to cover the difference. That is not the answer. That is definitely not the answer. If you've got a lot of because he was a big dairy farm, for instance, that is a big dairy farm that's said that. They've got quite a lot of cows, and you're then going on to produce more milk. That is not the answer. And if there's other farmers out there thinking the exact same thing, we're going to be in a mess, because one of the things the milk processors are saying is there is an overproduction of milk, a global overproduction of milk, global being the word. If you're producing them more milk, the market's even more flooded. So yeah, at the end of the day, and I'll be 100% honest, not to blow my own whistle here, but our farm, me and my brother's farm, my parents' farm, we are not producing any more milk than we did this time last year. So why punish us? Punish them that are overproducing the milk. That's what you need to be doing. But the dairy processors don't look at it like that. So I think about 10 years ago, they introduced an A and B pricing system, which basically you do forecasting, you forecast how much milk you're going to produce. They then paying you an A price and a B price. The A price is their set price, the B price is what they call the spot price, which is set at like the global demand for milk, if that makes sense. It's a lot more volatile. But how it works is, if you overproduce milk, you're paid for the B price, the spot price. And if there's a lot of spare milk on the market, the B price is really low. Whereas if there's not very much milk in the global market, the B price will be a lot higher than the A price. So we're all on it's like a quota system. And this is the other thing. About 10 years ago, again, the milk quota, which was brought in the 1980s, I should point out, was abolished. So people could produce milk, set up milking, produce as much milk as they wanted, really, to some aspect. But at the same time, the dairy processors need to know how much milk you're going to produce. So they brought in their own systems on how to set up an A and B price system, so they know how much milk you're going to produce, X, Y, and Z. So they know how much milk we're going to produce, but yet they still penalise them that it's not producing any more milk, which doesn't make sense in my own opinion. But anyway, I just want to point out, actually, the future of farming is very uncertain right now, purely because, I mean, the price we're getting for the milk that we produce at the end of the day is catastrophic. It's catastrophic with the fact that we're getting paid less than what it costs to produce. Because it's catastrophic from a business point of view. If you were looking at this from a business point of view, you think, well, you're losing money, you may as well pack up. Well, that's easier said than done. We can tighten his belts a bit. We can feed less corn in the parlour. We've got beef calves on the farm, so we can sell them. There's a bit of extra income. You've got other ways you can earn money other than just relying on the milk from the cows, so it will subsidise it a bit, if that makes sense. You can cut down on other costs, a lot of costs that are coming into the farm. Think about, well, actually, I'm going to build a new shed. Well, I can push that back another year and do things like that to try and help the business expenditure at the end of the day when you're actually producing milk now for less than the cost of production. Anyway, I wanted to use my YouTube channel to just have a bit of a rant about it and actually say, if you can, support local to your dairy farmers, support local, and actually, if all the general public knew the amount of work and labour that goes into getting a milk on your cereal or in your cups of tea or whatever every day, I think they won't mind paying a little bit more money in the supermarket, say another 10 or 20p for 4 pints or whatever. What's that? You can't really do a lot with 10 or 20p, can you? But you can support a local farmer. But mad that we're now producing milk at less than the cost of production. I mean, these girls, you can see there's one or two that are a bit mucky, but that's purely because it has been raining. It was raining till not long ago, but they're still out grazing, which helps keep the cost of producing milk a little bit lower than it should. But yeah, let's just say difficult times are ahead. Oh, got one bull in there. 2, 3, 5 and 47. But please support your local farmers. Yeah, please support the farmers, because every day I'm up at 5:15, start milking at 5 o'clock, milk till about 7:30, then we're jobbing up. Like some days it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock even coming for my breakfast. And then, like now, you've got jobs to do throughout the day, and then come 3:30, we start milking again. And that's milking done till, 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then you feed calves and everything. And then you know, the end of your day, sometimes you're not finished your day until like 7 o'clock. And then you can be carving cows and everything else. But basically what I'm trying to say is a lot of work goes into producing milk. And to just get pennies, British pennies, for the milk per litre at the end of every day is not right. Especially now that the fact we're producing milk at less than the cost of production. The money we're getting back off our processor, off our milk buyer, is now less than what it costs to produce. It's just mental, really. But I'll leave you with a view of the cows. It's a bit foggy today, but yeah. I will just add that in the previous video where I called it milk price crash, before this, I did a few weeks ago, some people commented saying, oh, well, you should pack up farming and whatever. Well, actually, why should we pack up farming? We've been farming here since my dad and granddad moved here back in the 1960s. Why should we be pushed out? You know what I mean? Yes, okay, our system's quite old. We're feeding cows in ring feeders. We haven't got out fancy like a diet feeder feeding them or what have you. But, why should we pack up at the end of the day just because we're now producing milk at less than the cost of production? But it's not right. It's not right at the end of the day. The government doesn't help one bit whatsoever. They're not on the farmer's side. No one is. You've really got to look out for yourself in this game. You've always got to do what's best for you and your business. But yeah, rant over with. If you've liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please be quiet. If you have liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe below. And I'll see you all in my next one, hopefully. I'll see you. Bye. It actually just seems mental now that we're producing milk and selling it for less than the cost of production. It's just mental. You know, any businessman would tell you that's not how business works. And actually, that's no way at all to run a business or make any money whatsoever.